After studying this module, you shall be able to know how culture affects communication, understand the concept of non-verbal communication, learn the use of non-verbal communication in cross-cultural contexts, enhancing communication skills by creating awareness of culture and context of dialogues. Introduction. In our previous module, we covered about the verbal communication. In this module, we will discuss in detail about the second form of communication, which is the non-verbal communication. Concept of non-verbal communication. The term non-verbal communication indicates the type of communication that does not require verbal form of interaction. The receiver is receiving information about the sender ideas, thoughts, intention in the absence of any verbal context or speech. The non-verbal message can be conveyed intentionally or unintentionally by the sender. The intentional non-verbal communication can be a message which is displayed purposefully through the signs and symbols to the receiver. The sign is commonly understood by both participants, sender and the receiver. In contrast, non-verbal communication can be interpreted as unintentional when the sender conveys information about his intention, thoughts and emotions inadvertently to the receiver. For example, in an oral communication, the intonation is an excellent example of non-verbal communication. Similarly, information obtained from tone of the voice, body posture, facial expression, gestures and vocalization are part of non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication cues have been present across all cultures and within different species from time of evolution. Through varied non-verbal cues like intonation, the living beings has been communicating about their needs, threats and danger to the others in their group. The intonation produced in cries of neonate display information about the needs of the neonate. However, non-verbal communication cue is abstract and is highly dependent on the interpretation of the receiver. In fact, before a sentence is uttered, the receiver observes the gestures and the body posture, facial expression and draws the communication or the data that the sender intends to share. Thus, non-verbal communication facilitates the verbal communication of the individual. In fact, if the verbal and non-verbal communication is incongruent to each other, it may act as a sign of warning for the receiver. Hence, non-verbal communication represents 2/3 of all communication. The wrong message can be established if the body language conveyed does not match a verbal message. Functions of non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication cues perform 5 major functions in communication. First is repetition. Non-verbal cues give signals if the receiver lacks understanding of the content. Through facial expression and other body postures, a sender may repeat his information several times to make an individual understand his information. Second, contradiction. Non-verbal cues can conflict with the verbal cues. Like a thief might lie and say that he is innocent. Through the non-verbal communication or non-verbal cues, his facial expression, tones, body posture, one can deduce the involvement of individual in the act. Substitution. The situation in which the individual cannot use the oral communication, non-verbal cues can rescue an individual for the same. Thus, non-verbal communication can substitute the verbal information. For instance, a spy of a country can use non-verbal cues to convey about the threat and danger than the verbal cues. A person's eyes can often convey a far more vivid message than the words do. Then, complementing. Non-verbal communication cues can be functional when the information received by the sender is unclear. In this context, nonverbal communication cues complement the information and can make the situation more concrete in the mind of the receiver. For example, when boss pats on the back of his subordinate and praises him for his good work, the verbal and non-verbal information amalgamate together to complement each other. The subordinate is quite sure that his boss is quite happy with him. Assenting. They may assent or underlie a verbal message. Pounding the table, for example, can underlie a message. Types of nonverbal communication. There are various types of nonverbal communication. First would be body language or body movements, which is also known as kinesis. Body movement is a type of non-verbal communication cue that reflects the attitude and emotion of a person. In this, the whole body, the hand, gestures, posture of a body will complement or substitute whatever the person is saying to you. Body movement in generally encompasses the overall display of the whole body of an individual. Then comes body posture. Body posture is one of the specific form of non-verbal communication cue that relate to the manner in which an individual sit or stand. The posture is more or less stable in the characteristics of an individual. It is an important medium through which we can identify the emotion, the attitude and the intention of an individual. For instance, most common form of posture include open posture, in which the individual generally opens his hands. On the other hand, within the closed posture, an individual prefers to close his hands. This reflects the level of confidence, status and receptivity of the receiver. Posture can be used to determine a participant's degree of attention or involvement. The difference in the status between the communicator and the level of fondness a person has for other communicator depending on body openness. Next comes facial expressions. Another forceful type of non-verbal communication cue used in everyday life is a facial expression. Within Netra Shastra, most of our emotions are displayed through the facial expression. In fact, facial expression is more dynamically expressed in different forms during oral communication. From the smile to surprise to the anger as an emotion, the face is the channel that reflects all these emotions in a clear and concrete manner. Facial expression complements and accentuates our thoughts, ideas, emotions to the receiver. These expressions can also be used in deceiving the individuals. Although facial expressions are typically viewed as innate and several are universally recognizable, they are not always connected to an emotional or internal biological stimulus. They can actually serve a more social purpose. For example, most of our smiles we produce are primarily made for others and are not just an involuntary reflection of an internal emotional state. Next comes eye movement. One of the significant features of a facial expression is the eye movement. The eyes are constantly used to display our inner thoughts and intentions to the sender. Eye movement involves specific functions. First, it regulates the interaction and provides turn-taking signals. Second, it monitors the communication by receiving non-verbal communication from others. Third, it signals cognitive activity. And last is expresses engagement. In addition, the frequency and intensity with which an individual maintains eye contact conveys the sense of interest and monotony that individuals have for others. For example, direct stare to the eyes conveys openness or frankness from the receiver to the center. Downward glance conveys humility and diffidence to the center. Eyes rolled upward informs receiver about the tiredness of the sender. Therefore, eye movement is one of the most important modes of nonverbal cues for the receiver. Eye contact. This is another form of cue that facilitates the interpersonal interaction. This is the primary and foremost form of interaction that neonates maintain with significant others in the environment. It facilitates cognitive development, language development, and overall development of a child. Besides above, it serves several communicative functions ranging from regulating interaction to monitoring interaction to conveying information to establishing interpersonal connection. In terms of regulating communication, we use eye movement to signal others that we are ready to speak, or we use it to the cue others to speak. It is also used to monitor interaction by taking the feedback and other non-verbal cues and to send information. It helps in communicating information and paying attention to what others are saying. Finally, it also helps in making interpersonal connections like establishing rapport with others. The eye contact can facilitate the effectiveness of communication within other interpersonal relation. It helps in giving and receiving the feedback from partner, which helps to know whether it is their turn to speak and helps in facilitating communication about a relationship between people. Paralanguage. Paralanguage relate to all aspects of the voice which are not strictly part of verbal message, including the tone, the pitch, the speed and the volume at which the message is being delivered, the pauses and hesitations between words. Pitch helps convey meaning, regulate conversational flow and communicate the intensity of a message. Volume helps communicate intensity, such as louder voice is usually thought of as a more intense. Speaking rate refers to how fast or slow a person speaks, which leads to form impression about emotional status, credibility and intelligence. Verbal fillers are sounds that fill gaps in speech as we think about what to say next. They are considered as part of non-verbal communication because they are not like typical words that stand in for a specific meaning or meanings. Next comes proximes. Proximes is understood as the level of physical contact that individuals have in different forms of relationship. Within the realm of cross-cultural research, the proximes varies in relationship. Within each relationship of cultures communicate the intensity of physical contact apt to different relationships. The amount of propinquity that is appropriate in each culture is communicated through the society to the individual. For instance, in Indian culture, we greet elderlies by folding our hands or touching their feet. However, in contrast, in Western culture, we greet elderlies by giving them hugs. In each relationship, whether we talk of greeting of someone or we talk permission, sharing, exhibiting our love, respect or resolving conflicts, in all these relationships, the cultures define the level of physical contact appropriate between the dyads. Thus, in present society, the cultures define the range of non-verbal codes appropriate across different ethnic groups. In case if anybody go against the defined norms, people may feel uncomfortable or defensive. Rather, it can be misinterpreted by the viewers in different culture. Indeed, 4 distances have been defined according to the relationship between the people involved. The 4 major categories of proximes are: first, intimate distance; second, personal distance; third, social distance; and fourth, public distance. Understanding these distances allows us to approach others in non-threatening and appropriate ways. Haptics or touch. Another form of non-verbal communication is haptics or touch. Touch provides us information about the surfaces and textures of the object. Touch is an important element that facilitates non-verbal communication in interpersonal relationship. Through touch, individuals in a culture calibrate different forms of relationship. Touch is necessary for human social development and it can be welcoming, threatening or persuasive. There are several types of touch including functional, professional, social, polite, friendship, warmth, and love, intimacy, touch. At the functional professional level, touch is a part of routine professional interaction. At the social polite level, touch helps initiate interaction. At friendship warmth level, touch interactions serves as relational maintenance purpose and communicative closeness. At the love intimacy level, touch is more personal and is typically only exchanged between significant others. It is component of non-verbal communication in interpersonal relationship and vital in conveying physical intimacy. Socially acceptable levels of touching varies from one culture to another culture. For example, in the Thai culture, touching someone's head may be thought rude. Next is chronemics. Chronemics refers to the study of how time affects communication. Time can be classified into several different categories, including biological, personal, physical, and cultural time. Biological time refers to the rhythms of living things. Personal time refers to the ways in which individuals experience time. Physical time refers to the fixed cycles of days, years, and seasons. Cultural time refers to how a large group of people view time. Chronemes also covers the amount of time people spend talking. Conversational turns and turn-taking patterns are influenced by social norms and help conversational process. It can be annoying when a person dominates the conversation or when a person cannot contribute anything in the communication process. Next is artifacts or objects. Clothing. Clothing is one of the most common forms of nonverbal communication. The study of clothing and other objects as a mean of nonverbal communication is known as artifacts or objects. An individual's clothing style can demonstrate their culture, mood, level of confidence, interest, age, authority, value, and their sexual identity. For instance, Jewish men may wear yarmulkes to outwardly communicate their religious beliefs. Similarly, clothing can communicate what nationality a person or group is. For example, in traditional festivals, Scottish men often wear kilts to specify their culture. Summary. Non-verbal communication leads through the receiver to receive information about the sender's ideas, thought, intention in the absence of any verbal content or speech. Non-verbal communication or messages can be conveyed intentionally or unintentionally by the sender. Intentional non-verbal communication messages are displayed purposefully, whereas the unintentional messages are conveyed unconsciously. Non-verbal communication represents 2/3 of all communication. Functions of non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication cues performs 5 major functions in communication: repetition, contradiction, substitution, complementing, and accenting. There are even different types of non-verbal communication we use in our daily lives. First and foremost is our body language or body movement, which is also called kinesis. In the whole body movement, head, hands, gesture, posture of the body complement or substitute whatever the person is saying to us. Second is our body posture. This is one of the very specific form of non-verbal communication cue. This is related in a manner to an individual sitting or standing position. Then comes facial expression. Facial expression are a very basic and forceful type of non-verbal communication cue which is used in our daily lives. Eye movement. Our eyes are constantly used to display our inner thoughts and intention to the sender. Next is eye contact. Eye contact facilitates the interpersonal interaction between receiver and the sender. We use eye movements to signal to others that we are ready to speak or use it as a cue for others to speak. Important other type is paralanguage. Paralanguage relates to all aspects of the voice which are not strictly part of the verbal messages. So whatever is vocal other than the words comes under paralanguage. It includes tone, pitch, speed, volume, pauses, etc. Next is promises. It is understood as the level of physical contact that individuals have in different form of relationship. So basically the distancing between people comes under it. Next is haptics or touch. Touch is a very important element that facilitates non-verbal communication, and it transforms itself or facilitates in the form of interpersonal relationship. Then comes chronemes. Chronemes refers to the study of how time affects communication. And the last one is artifacts or objects. Our personal objects or artifacts like our clothing determines our area of personal space, which leads to non-verbal communication from us to the other person.